Natalie, I am passing the mic to you.
Good morning, Dr. Lynette. Thank you so much for the invitation to share with you and your community today. I am Natalie Gregg. I am a leadership and peak performance coach, and you will find me all around LinkedIn talking about LinkedIn, latte, and leadership. So I'm thrilled to be here today to have this courageous conversation because I want to see more people win on LinkedIn. I want to encourage, especially women, because I do a lot of work around women's empowerment and women's leadership. I want to encourage them and inspire them to stop playing small. Because if you are interested, and all of us should be interested in growing our brand and also growing our businesses, LinkedIn is a place to be because it is a place where you find people who play like you play. And I am going to toss it to TC.
Oh my, so I love the passing to me, and thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Thank you to the amazing group that we are on right now. I actually never knew that this group was on LinkedIn until Dr. Lynette actually connected, and I'm like, oh my gosh, such a powerful group we have here on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, Miss Natalie, as well, for holding this space with me. It's always very empowering to see amazing entrepreneurs come together to do one thing, support each other, learn, and as much as possible, get the best out of the skills and the knowledge that we've been gifted. Now, I'm sure you're wondering who I am. My name is TC. I'm a systems implementation strategist. And yes, I love all things back end. Okay. If there's one thing that I appreciate about LinkedIn is the fact that you don't necessarily have to prepare so hard for you to start to get the best out of LinkedIn. You just need to start. And that's basically where that's the hardest part, okay, of LinkedIn, starting. And that is troubling because so many amazing entrepreneurs, so many amazing service providers, so many gifted, skilled individuals who are looking to showcase their skills, their knowledge to the world are like taking cricket steps. Why? Because they're unsure as to what do I need to do? Where do I need to place my leg? And blah, blah, blah. And I guess that's why we're holding this space today, so that we are not only empowering you with the right knowledge, and I use the word the right knowledge, right? With the right knowledge and the right tools for you to get started, irrespective of where you are right now. It doesn't really matter what size of your business is, if you're started, if you've been in business for 100 years, you need this space, okay? So as much as possible, let us be interactive, let us ask questions, let us communicate, let us react, okay? So we are able to get the best out of this space. Thank you so much, Dr. Lynette, for giving us this opportunity. It's such an honor. I pass the mic back to you.
Thank you so much. I'm excited because I can say, for one, I seem to constantly be changing my LinkedIn headline because there's so many schools of thought around what goes in the headline, what's the best thing to put where, well, don't say this and don't say that. And as I search LinkedIn for people that I desire to be connected with, I start to see headlines that I don't find valuable because it doesn't tell me anything about the person or whether I would want to connect with them. And so then that sends me back on a loop of going and looking at my headline. So because we know that one of the biggest elements of attracting high ticket clients starts with your LinkedIn profile, can someone, whichever one of you wants to take this question, or both, can you really just sort of get us out of the fog, like help us with what does our LinkedIn profile need to look like or sound like or be like or feel like in order to attract high ticket clients?
I'll start, Dr. Lynette, and I'll ask TC to come in. I have worked with so many LinkedIn experts across the globe, as well as myself and also my personal clients. And what your LinkedIn profile needs to look and sound like is you. No one can be you but you. And you really have to take into consideration, who do I want to attract? How do I want to serve them? And how do I want to show up? So you're looking specifically at the 3 V's of what I call personal branding: your voice, your value, as well as your visibility. And a lot of times you are correct. Some of the people that I want to connect with as well, once I read their profile, I'm like, really? And so I have to dig a little deeper and maybe go to their first post or go to their recommendation section to see what others are saying about their work. But it really depends upon how you want to craft your message about your personal brand, how you want to share your expertise, and how you want to stand in your authority. That is the key to getting that LinkedIn profile where you want it to be. And I'll toss the mic to TC.
I love this. And I'm just going to give you an example. There's a big difference between you who just want to show up on LinkedIn and you have your professional headline. And there is another individual, a skilled individual who is looking to monetize LinkedIn. Now, your professional headlines will look different. If you're on LinkedIn because you just want to experience LinkedIn and you're not sure about LinkedIn, or you just want to get followers and get a bunch of people to follow you, now your headline would look like this. More like a snippet of everything that you do, which basically it's not our business, because we don't necessarily need to know every single thing that you do, right? We just need that one piece, which is going to be more like, a bit to getting us into your space. So it would look like this. An example, you would have something like marketing strategist, shoemaker, this, that, and blah, blah, and all of that. Yes, that's a good one. We would follow you, okay? We would connect with you because we're curious. But if you are looking to hiring, right, signing up high ticket clients, this is what it will look like. Helping coaches, consultants land high ticket clients through LinkedIn strategies. That's an example. Now, every single person who comes to your space, remember, it is not only SEO optimized, right? Your headline isn't only SEO optimized. It is also triggering the people who genuinely want to work with you, to learn more. Like, literally, I'm like, oh, this is the person that I need to work with, right? So I'm just going to pause right there so you have like a good picture of what exactly you want the perception of your profile to look like and who exactly you want to target. All right, I'll pass the mic back to you, Dr. Lynette.
Now, that sure sounded easy when you said it. But I don't know now, because whenever we go to actually do what you just said, it I don't know, it just starts to seem to be a lot messier. Maybe it's because, for me, I'm speaking for me, right? No one else on the call has this problem, so I'm just going to confess for me. Maybe it's just because, as you said, TC, there's a lot of, I have several areas of expertise, and trying to choose which one I want to lead with in that tiny box is sometimes a challenge. And so, in thinking about what you just said, one of the things that we know, it goes back to the connecting with prospects and feeling like I really want to connect. I am a huge connector, a huge relationship builder. Some of the things that people have recommended I put in my headline or I put in my bio feels very salesy to me. Some of the things they tell me to do when I'm going to DM people, I actually am DMing because I want to know what you're up to. I want to get to know you. But the recommendations feel salesy to me. So knowing that I am here to do business, how do I identify and connect with my ideal client without feeling like a sleazy sleazy sales person?
Okay, so let me take that, right? And I get that often. I literally started off that way because it was very frustrating. I remember saying my story of leaving LinkedIn and coming back to LinkedIn, and I'm like, you know what, I'm done. And I remember Miss Natalie saying, you know what, TC, you can do it. Just do it. You can do it this way, do it that way. I feel like it felt easier when, myself and Miss Natalie started communicating, because the truth is, earlier I was really disturbed, because I was confused. I think that's the right word. And over the past 13 months, to be very precise, I've learned one thing. When it comes down to identifying and connecting with your high-ticket prospects, right, here on LinkedIn, if you do not want to come across being salesy, it literally involves you leveraging strategic, value-driven approach. Now, what you're doing is prioritizing your relationship building over direct selling. Right? And that's what you want to put into perspective. I'm going to give you an example before I pass the mic to Miss Natalie. You see, when you think about leveraging your connections, start by clearly defining who your high-ticket prospects are. So hear me out. This is not to say that you can't have, people who want maybe your low ticket offer or just, no, that's not what I'm saying. But you see, I look at LinkedIn as my space to connect with high solution-based clients. They need it. They need immediate solution. They know what they want. They know their end goal. They're like straight to the point, and that's how I look at it, right? Now, for me, I would say to you, start by clearly defining who that particular person is to you. You want to consider like their industry, their jobs, company size, their pain points, what they like, what their dislikes are, how they love to be connected with. That is very important, because this would help you in filtering and also finding the right people to connect with. So, for example, right, I love to give examples so that it's easier for you to relate to these things. Now, for example, my kind of willing and ready high-ticket clients do not like to waste their time, right? They want to come into my DMs and tell me, oh, you know what, TC, I'm ready, let's go to the call. Tell me exactly how you can solve my problem in clear terms. Like no big grammar, no plenty industry jargon. Just tell me clearly, how can you solve my problem? What's the timeline? What do I need to do? Straight to the point. Now, with this particular person, we don't need you trying to act all, I just want to connect with you, and all of that. First is first. Start to build that relationship, okay? Because you already know who these people are. And that's why basically I would always say first define who that person is, that one person, and then use it in engaging with them. Try to build that relationship first before you then push out to say, okay, let's connect. And connecting doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to sell to you outrightly. It means I'm interested in learning more about you and also see how we can partner together. Now, you're not selling to them. You are partnering, you're collaborating. It's a two different thing entirely. Now, that's the way I look at it. Ms. Natalie, what do you say about it?
I agree 1,000,000%, TC, and I am going back to what one of my coaches continue to nail in my head is to decide, what do you want to be known for? In Susie Hubbard's word, who is my coach and one of my mentors, decide not only what you want to be known for, but also how do you want to show up. And it's the same on LinkedIn as well. And once you get clearly defined as far as how you want to show up, and then you start defining the avatar, who do I want to work with? Who do I want to collaborate with? For me personally, it's mostly high performers, because they understand that when they have an issue or a challenge, they want it solved in an amount of time. And they understand that it is an investment to be able to solve the problem. So I don't have to go through that conversation with them when they choose me based on my comments, based on my profile, based on some of my videos or any other information that I'm sharing on LinkedIn. I want them to come and say, okay, I'm ready to play. Let's do this. Let's work on what's next. The same way that you and I, TC, came together to actually kick off the challenge, because we want more people to be on LinkedIn, and we want them to be successful, and we want them to monetize their genius, because truly the sky is the limit.
I love that. Thank you so much for adding that clarity to what can become quite messy. Hi, Allegra. Hi, Geraldine. Hi, Scott. Hi, Kevin, Nisha, Phyllis, Paige, Adana. Thank you so much for coming and spending some time with us. Let's talk about there's a couple of things. I feel like there's a lot of mistakes that I know I am making. I as a business consultant can see other people make it. It's not so easy to see my own mistakes, right? We're honest about that. But it's easier to see things that others do that aren't connecting. So I would love to know, what are some of the common mistakes to avoid when we are trying to attract high ticket clients, but also a specific piggyback to what we're talking about with the DMs. Is I know that I fall into this because I genuinely am interested in people. I want to know, how was your vacation? If I saw that you went on vacation, I want to know, how was your daughter's dance recital? If I saw you post about that, I really am interested. However, it can also get me stuck in, quote unquote, the friend zone, right? And so when it comes to building these relationships, especially in the DMs, how do I, as in all of us, how do we move a casual conversation to a business connection? You know, are you interested in what I do and have to offer conversation?
TC, if you would lead off with this, and I would follow up, because I'm so glad that Carrie is here in the audience, because I want to talk about a conversation that we had in the comments last week during her HR conference.
I love the question. And if you'll notice, Dr. Lynette actually asked two questions in one. So I'm going to break it down, just so we're able to break this down for you, okay? Now, I know you mentioned, how do we move from the, casual conversations to the actual, let's partner, or let's collaborate, or let's work together, right? And there's this other questions about, the common mistakes that we make. I would start with how we can move from your casual conversations, to those conversations about partnering, conversations about, collaborating. Personally, for me, I would say, when it comes down to these connections, these conversations, it basically requires you building trust, you demonstrating value, you guiding your prospects through that whole pathway from interest to investment. We all know that, as business owners, that's why we're here, to market and sell. But, the truth is, you're not going to sell to who you do not know. That's it. And people want to know that you're genuinely interested in what they have going on, right? You're not so selfish and all you're thinking about is yourself. You're thinking about them, because the truth is, they are bothered about what you have for them, right? You're thinking about them, you're invested in them, like them. Now, you need to start with them. I would say we would have to start with is begin by nurturing your connections, Okay, genuinely engage with them. Pay close attention to their profiles. Those profiles are not there for fun. You see somebody you like, you see someone who you want to connect with. Those profiles, all of those things are meant for a reason. So you get to learn more about them. Now, don't stop there. Go to their content. Okay, I know that some people have said, oh, but some content are like vague. You would see something that would trigger a level of conversation, right? Because you want to take it to that next step. Personally, for me, if I really want to work with you, or I don't want to go like round and round and round, I'm like, hey, let's get on a call, right? Because I just want to chat with you. I want to learn more about you, because sometimes personally also I'm confused about certain pictures that I see online. And for me to be able to connect with you, I believe so much in networking. Now, I believe in seeing you face to face. Let's meet, let's talk, let's hear ourselves smile. Let me hear the sound of your smile. Let me see if the sound of your smile is as genuine as you portray with your pretty pictures on the feed. Now, this is me, right? And so I could go and be like, okay, you know what? Let's just jump on a quick chat. Now, this is me wanting to understand your personality, because it goes way beyond just that pretty picture, right? So I would say, if I pass the mic to Ms. Natalie, that you begin with, engaging with them genuinely, sharing your insights, share in their wins, share in their losses if there are any. This is you creating that foundation of trust. You're positioning yourself as an active, interested party in this entire journey. And now, even if, you're like, okay, you jump into their DMs someday, you're no longer strange. They know you. They've identified you. So it becomes easier for you to then push ahead and say, okay, you know what? How about we talk about business, if that's what you want to talk about? But you've watered the foundation and made it easier for them to understand you better, because you've taken out time to understand them better. Ms. Natalie, what do you say about that?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And I wanted to remind our audience today some of the things that I see as far as no-nos. And when you look at your LinkedIn profile, if it's incomplete, so profile is incomplete to get done today. Don't wait. Done isn't perfect. You continue to expand it as you continue to grow. So please complete that profile by end of business today if your profile is incomplete. Also, lack of engagement. I don't see you, I can't build trust with you. If I don't see you posting, if I don't see you engaging, then I can't build trust with you. And the third one is one of my stickers that I see several times a day, and that's getting sassy in the day for people I know that I have no trust with at all. They're jumping in my DM. Most of the time, they're just connected with me, and then they say, I need you to purchase X. Call 2 weeks ago with a new connection, and she automatically wanted to sell me something, and I was like, well, this is not exactly how it's done. So those are the three things, the three mistakes that I see a lot of leaders, a lot of entrepreneurs actually doing, with their LinkedIn profile. And as TC said, moving that relationship from a friendship type of relationship into a more monetization type of relationship. Some things may be a discovery call. It may be asking the potential client or customer, I have a solution that I think would pair well with your challenge, and I get on the level see how I can support as well as value. And real quickly, the conversation I had with Kira, she was attending an HR conference, and she was actually talking about a lot of her team members just showing up in the same color. And I actually went below in the comment and talked about the color that she was wearing along with her other, and what that actual color meant to be able to provide safety, provide trust. And that is the first part of the conversation with them convert, so you can monetize that relationship. And that first piece is that emotion.
Okay, so Dr. Lillian, just one moment, right? I need us to go back to, because I love everything Miss Natalie was sharing right now, and it reminded me of something. In terms of talking about the mistakes that we make, I see a lot of times that earlier I talked about people who are just on LinkedIn to get like the fame or get like the followers and plenty of people following them, and the people who are here to literally provide value, connect with people who are willing and ready to collaborate and work with them. Now, these are two different categories of people. And one mistake I have seen in these two different set of people is focusing on quantity over quality, right? Because it's very tempting. It's very, very tempting to want to connect with as many people as possible. But when you're targeting the people who you really want to work with and people who want to work with you, quality is far more important than quantity. I keep saying it. I believe that it is easier. Okay, it's easier for you to manage. Listen, when we talk about lead generation, okay, you want to think about the outcome, okay, of your lead generation activities. You want to think about managing the outcome of all of these things you're doing, building relationships and all of it. Now, it is a waste, a total waste, 100%. If after all of your marketing efforts, you're building relationship, you're doing all of these things, you're not able to leverage these connections that you've built for yourself, if it can't amount to something, it's as good as a waste. So what I would say we should do in this regard is we want to focus on building. If you have a small connection right now, good for you. Like literally, that's a gold mine. You want to focus on building that smaller network of highly relevant connections. Okay, nurture them, get them to be people who can vouch for you, people who can show up for you, people who would show up as your community, rather than trying to connect with everyone, because that's not going to lead you anywhere you would like. I wanted to put that out there, but thank you so much, Miss Natalie. Over to you, Dr. Lillian.
I love that, because it really is turning into a numbers game, and it's not necessarily numbers that will add digits into our bank account. It's just vanity metrics, as they call it, right? So I know that some people really learn a lot from examples, and you guys have given us so much of that already. I know other people would love to go a little deeper, and so I'm wondering if you have a specific example, a client story, a case study, or something that you can really walk us through to show the difference between having the right type of presence on LinkedIn and building those connections and not having it. How can we get from where we are to what you are recommending that we do?
So I know that, go on, Miss Natalie. Okay, so I wanted Miss Natalie to share, because I remember we're talking about a client of hers, right? So I wanted her to share that particular success story before I share an example of what I wanted to share. But this story, it literally got me smiling, and I was literally blushing when she was sharing it with me, and that's why I want her to share it right now. Please go on, Miss Natalie.
Which one did you want me to share, TC? I want to make sure I share the right one.
Okay, let me don't put you on the spot. Just share what.
Oh,
Share
that's fine. It doesn't matter. You put me on the spot, please do. I love it.
Okay, so you remember the lady, I don't want to call her name just in case you don't want to disclose her name, but the lady that that has like this, that she does fascinators, that you were able to get her really huge deals from her LinkedIn profile with your strategy. Can you remember? She's a fashion stylist, I guess.
Yes. Yes. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about another client, but yes, I would share that story. One of my clients actually wanted to expand her coaching services, and she wanted to align with a national speaker who also had, I'm trying to be very careful with my words without divulging who the person is, who also had a high-end product. And she wanted to become not only a paid brand ambassador, but a paid consultant and a paid team member for that particular industry and that particular corporation. And what I began to do with the client is to begin to analyze the person that she wanted to align with, to analyze not only their voice and their value, but also how they showed up on the platform, and also to talk with her as far as how could she help that person show up differently to exceed the goals and objectives that they were looking forward to achieving. Because you really have to know that you are looking to monetize a relationship, or you're looking to monetize a partnership, you really accelerate the person's results, and then actually making that a partnership kind of piece, so where the person really, for lack of a better word, can't do it without you. That they understand that you are a high valued resource, and what you bring to the table is really a game changer for them exceeding their goals. Was there anything else you want me to add, TC?
No. That's good. That's good. I'm just waiting for you to be done.
Yes, I was just trying to do it very gingerly, so I wouldn't expose, the players of that particular case study.
No worries. So just so you all know, sometimes we have really confidential contract, and then you don't want to disclose a certain person's identity. However, let me share something with you all, okay? Now, that this particular client of mine, that she literally started off just like me as well, but I think she was better off than myself, because she had, I think she was even far way better than myself anyways, because she had over 5,000 plus LinkedIn followers, and then she reached out. Now, she reached out because she was literally struggling, right? She was struggling to consistently attract people to her coaching program. I mean, she's been using LinkedIn for almost like 3 years, right? And she said, she's been showing up, she's been trying all of it, but people come to her DMs. Like, people will come to her big DMs, and they come to her DMs to sell to her, but not to, connect with her, to buy from her. That kind of scenario, right? And so she's like, what, TC, I'm just finding it very difficult to move from, just being friends. It feels like everyone in her connection is literally like putting her in that friend zone. And I don't know of you all, but I don't even like being in that friend zone sometimes. And, when she was saying it, I'm like, I can imagine. Because sometimes it gets very difficult to move beyond that casual connection. Like, people would like your post, they would comment, they'll be like, wow, wow, relatable, I love you, you do this, all of those good stuff. But, actually taking that next step with you becomes a problem. And that was just her scenario. Now, what she wanted was a more strategic approach, right? For her to position herself as a high-valued coach on LinkedIn. So just to give you this perspective, right? She's actually a business consultant. She specializes in helping entrepreneurs scale their business, okay, using SEO strategies. Okay, that's what she does. So she teaches them and then she helps them do it and all of those great stuff, right? Now, she told me then that she had like this premium coaching program. I think it was priced around 10,000, 15,000. It was a 12-week intensive program, right? But she was finding it very difficult to sell. Now, when I looked at her profile, it's the same thing that I actually mentioned earlier. And she had, she literally had all her, certifications on her profile. And I blushed and I'm like, this is going to get people to say, oh my gosh, she's so highly qualified. But it's not going to get them to bring out their credit card and say, I'm ready to invest in the transformation you're going to provide to me. Now, what we first started to do, first things first, right, was very simple. We decided to clearly articulate her expertise and the results that she offers on her profile, because she's here for business, okay? She's not here to maybe start an influencing, job or something. No, she's here for business, and people needed to know the value she is bringing to the table, how she's a solution to their problem. So this is what we did instead, right? We then updated her headline to say something like helping entrepreneurs scale 7 figures through strategic business coaching. Straight to the point. We're telling them how it is, right? Where they're headed to. That vision that they see, that is basically what we want to show them. Now, we also worked with her about section, okay? What we did was we write her story, highlighted her successes, because people need proof. Right? If you want people to bring out 10,000, you need to tell them why they're going to bring out that 10,000. They're not going to just give it to you because you say you are marketing expert certified. You went to Harvard University. So what? So what? Tell us who you've helped, how you've helped them, right? And we want to see it in your about section. So that's what we did, right? Then we also included a very clear call to action, inviting people to schedule a call with her. Because of what she does, I said to her, it's important that the same way people are going to have to qualify, see if you're a good fit. Also, you need to be interested in understanding if these people are a good fit to your program, because your expertise is highly valued. So the same way they're trying to scrutinize you, the same way you also need to scrutinize them to see if you both are a good fit. And she's like, yeah, that's smart. And so we had to incorporate that, right? We also worked on her content, because her content obviously was vague. Her content was bringing follows, likes, comment, but it wasn't necessarily saying, why should I invest in this program? And that was the missing point, okay, which we had to work on. Now, when you look at LinkedIn, or rather, when I look at LinkedIn, let me be very specific now, right? There's certain areas I feel like coaches, especially coaches and consultants, should leverage using LinkedIn as when you have high-ticket solutions, because this is you demonstrating your level of expertise in whatever you claim to be selling. Okay, now we had to take advantage of those features of LinkedIn. I mean, they're here on LinkedIn, right? Now, this helped her in intentionally showcasing her knowledge and providing actionable advice without her experiencing burnout. Because trust me, this app can get you off balance. You will find yourself in this space where you'll be like, you're doing so much and it's not yielding anything. And you'll be like, I'm putting all of the effort, right? It can get to you. Right. So I said to her, I don't want you to get worn out. And when you eventually get this client, you're not able to deliver on your promises. So let's work with your schedule, because she also had a 9-to-5 then. Right. She no longer has a 9-to-5 anymore. But then she had a 9-to-5. And, we worked on her content. I remember we had to build a DM strategy for her, right? So instead of sending like cold messages, which basically that's what Dr. Leonard was talking about, right? We decided to start to engage with these people because we don't want people to come to the DMs, take up her time, and are not able, okay, to pay that 10K. Because just because you're following me right now doesn't necessarily mean you have 10K to say, oh, I want to invest in a 12 weeks program, right? It's the truth. Not everyone is able to pay that 10K. Some people might be able to do 100. Some people might be able to do 5,000. Some people might even be able to do 50,000 for maybe a program that you have. Because all hands, all fingers are not equal. It's the same thing, right? So I said to her, instead of you doing your regular, because it's very frustrating, right? Doing all of those cold messages and all of it. How about we start engaging with people, right? Start connecting with them in their comment section, in their posts. Let them come to you. Instead of going to them, let them come to you, right? When they come to you, then you initiate it. It's like when somebody says you want to speak to somebody, right? You want to speak to, you've been eyeing a certain, company, and you've been doing everything to position yourself in the sight of the company, maybe the founder of the company, and they notice you and then they like your post, just that one like, right? Or they notice you and they comment, just that one comment. Then you use that as a medium to say, hi, I saw you commented and blah, 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 blah. Just try to build that relationship. Now that we started to do. And for me, the initial satisfaction was the way she started feeling about her business. Let's leave the money she made after 60 days. But it's the initial feeling. She started to have trust in her business. This is somebody that was literally saying, Cici, are you sure? Are you sure this is what I should be doing? Are you sure I shouldn't just focus on my job? And I said to her, for how long? Your mind is here. So why are you treating yourself this way? Just focus and let's do the right thing. And like I said, it was the transformation of the way she felt. It started becoming very natural. She's like, she would jump into the DMs and be like, oh my gosh, Cici, I just connected to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, this is good. Now, it was a satisfaction to always reach out to people authentically. That was, for me, was a great win for me, right? She might have not seen it as a great win, but the way she felt, I loved it. Now, I'm going to share one last thing, right? Which we did is the fact that I remember saying to her when we connected, and I said, please do not jump into a sales pitch, okay? Instead, initiate a value-driven conversation. I mean, just so you know, when you get on a call, even if you say, oh, I want to get on a networking call, or I want to get on a coffee chat with you, the other person is already putting a glass window or a glass block waiting, because they'll be like, oh, I know she's going to sell to me. I know she has something to sell. Like, they already have that bridge waiting. See me, you're laughing. Yeah, they already have that bridge. And so once you just act like you want to, they'll be like, and then they'll hold it. So remove those guards. That's your first point of contact. Bring down those guards, because they're already waiting for you. So you come out, like show up, removing that guards. Water the entire space, make it cozy, make it fresh, make it make them feel like, I can speak to this person freely without being afraid of being sold to. Because even if we're business owners, the truth is we are apprehensive about being sold to. So the first thing when you get into that conversation, that sales speech is a sales speech. We know. But the first thing you're going to do is to bring down those guards. And she's like, when she did that, she's, oh my gosh, Cici, your strategy is like, I'm like, it's not like it's mine. This is just something I heard it somewhere. I don't know where I heard it from, but I started implementing it and it got used to me and it was working. So it's not like maybe I invented it. I didn't invent it. And she's like, it doesn't matter, TC. It is brilliant. I'm like, well, as long as you use it and it's working for you. Right? So I'm just going to pause right there because obviously I'm sure you know what the end result would look like. She was not able, obviously, to make $1 million after 60 days. But the fact that she was able to at least enroll 5 good, sweet clients. You know, when I use the word sweet clients, I mean people who were excited about working with her. People who were not just like, oh, I'm investing my 10K, so you need to sacrifice your blood or sacrifice your spirit because I'm investing. No, they were willing to work with her. She had fun. The last time I checked, she said 3 of the 5 clients are now on retainer. After the 12 weeks they had to join her retainer services. So that's basically what I looked at. I'm like, now this is cool, because that's what we're looking at: sustainability, longevity in our businesses, right? Okay, I'm going to pause right there because I know Dr. Lynette has something to say. What's it, Dr. Lynette?
Listen, I'm over here taking notes. I am absolutely open to the entire case study that you just did, the step-by-step, the examples. I have all these things going on in my head. Before I go to the next question, I want to dig into, let me set the stage for the next question. I want to dig a little bit deeper into the content, because you talked about that in this case study and how you helped her to really shift her content. That, I feel, is one of our other biggest common mistakes, a real sticking point for me. But I want to ask this. Like, you have given so much value, shared so many gems, and I happen to know, if everyone doesn't know this, that you guys have a challenge coming up. And so I really would be just rude if I did not give you an opportunity to tell us about that, because you have been so generous with your gems. So if everyone doesn't mind, let us give them just 60 seconds to tell us about the challenge, because this is going to take a little bit more work than what we can do on this event. So I don't know who wants to take this, TC or Nathalie, but please do.
TC, you want to start and I'll finish?
Absolutely. I would love to share. So first, thank you so much, Dr. Lynette, for this opportunity, and thank you everyone for being here as well. I see everyone here listening and taking notes, and I want to say well done and congratulations for investing your time. First things first, investing your time in the transformation that you're about to experience using your LinkedIn profile. Now, just so we are clear, I am no LinkedIn guru. I am just an entrepreneur who had struggled with LinkedIn. I almost closed my account. Thank God I didn't close it anyways. But, I was literally struggling with LinkedIn because it was very scary, right? LinkedIn was very scary for me. I didn't know where to put my feet. I didn't know what to do. It felt like boring. It felt like I was going to do so much work. Until I met Miss Natalie. Yeah, that's the truth. I met her on Twitter. And I saw the way she was always like, LinkedIn. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, they're just trying to make us go into LinkedIn, but it's not what it is. But then I realized that it was a different kind of feeling, because we started to have conversation, right? She started to let me know that, TC, you just need to be you. You just need to focus on your strength instead of your weakness. Now, I took a leap of faith, not because I loved LinkedIn. I still do not like LinkedIn then. It's because I didn't have a choice, because my Instagram page was down. And I'm like, where do I, position myself for my audience to connect with me? So, with my strong head, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to use LinkedIn. Let's just try LinkedIn. If it doesn't work out, we're just going to go somewhere else, right? And I started to stay intentionally with being myself here on LinkedIn. Right? Now, when it comes down to the 3-day LinkedIn challenge, it is simple. This challenge is to get you as a service provider, as a coach, as a consultant, as a speaker, as an author, right? To establish your thought leadership the right way, connecting with the right people, okay? And converting these people into paying customers. Now, what our goal is, when it comes down to the challenge, is we've been able to create 4 phases in your LinkedIn journey. When I shared my LinkedIn, my LinkedIn funnel system with a client, she's like, "Oh my gosh, TC, this is powerful." Now, this funnel system is not a tool, it's a process that would get you started with LinkedIn. It doesn't matter what size you're in. It doesn't matter how many followers you have right now. What matters is you're going to get results and see the transformation, right? Regardless of where you are. Now, I want to show you what happens at the back end, what gets people who monetize LinkedIn with 500, 1,000 followers, right? And you are out there, 50,000, 100,000, you can barely get 5,000 back home every single month. Now, the difference is not because you're not good enough. The difference is how you are seeing LinkedIn. Now, I had to create this system that works for me and my clients because I started to see LinkedIn as a lead generation powerhouse. Now, that's exactly what I want to show you. In a 3-day LinkedIn activation challenge, we're going to be setting up your LinkedIn profile. You're going to have the right content because you're going to have access to your LinkedIn content calendar. You're going to have access to your DMs, my DM system template as well. Now, all of this is to guide you in the right path so that you are focused on your goal. You know that, okay, you know what, every quarter, this is what I want to achieve. My money goes from LinkedIn. This is how I need to achieve it. This is how I get to achieve it. So it's not a matter of somebody comes to you and tell you, "Oh, I can generate you 1 billion leads in 2 days." And then you are happy about it. And you forget that after you generate these leads, what happens? It's about you connecting with the right people that would turn from connections to clients, right? And that's it. That's a summary of what this challenge is about. But I want Miss Natalie to chime in to tell us more about the challenge. We're also going to drop the link of the challenge so that you take our time and then go through it and see if it's something that you want to work with. Okay, over to you, Miss Natalie.
Okay, before you jump in, let me throw in a question. TC really covered a lot in that answer, so hold that thought. I'll come back to you, Natalie, so you can add more. Let's get a question in before we do that. So let's talk about content. Content, I think, is one of the other biggest challenges we have. We started with the headline and our about section and those parts of our profile. But when it comes to what are we actually posting to position ourselves as a high value provider, coach, consultant, speaker, whatever that is, can someone speak to how do we use our content on LinkedIn to position ourselves so that the high ticket clients see us and they're interested in DMing with us in the first place?
Absolutely, Dr. Lynette. I'll start there because that's where I was going with the second part when TC was talking about the challenge, is about the content piece of LinkedIn. And you really want to, and I cannot reiterate this enough, decide first, what do you want to be known for? What problem do you solve? And no one can really solve it exactly like you. I use me for example. My whole mission is to redefine women empowerment, to inspire women to be their own economic engines through leveraging their voice, their value, and their visibility. So every day on all of my social media platforms, I am talking about leadership with a concentration in women or some form of economic development. And as I comment as well, I am talking about the same thing over and over and over again. And TC, thank you so much for your kind words, because I was not going to let you quit LinkedIn, because I kept jumping into her comments saying, TC, this is brilliant. This is systems and automation, and this is what thought leaders need so they don't have to experience burnout. Once they get the content down and it's performing in the way that you want it to perform, yes, you need to be following your content analytics. And it's not about are you serving your ideal clients? Are people jumping in your DMs and asking you questions? And are they asking you to work with them? Are they asking you to show up on their stage, whether it's virtual or in person? I signed my first Fortune 10 client do a case study before I built my website, because I wanted to be able to say that I landed a speaking engagement for my LinkedIn profile. And it happened. That particular client called me. And I'm so glad I didn't say something stupid, because I thought it was one of my girlfriends playing a trick on me. But interestingly enough, on that actually one experience turned into a 3-year engagement with that particular client. So you really have to decide, what is it that you want to be known for? Develop those content pillars. Out of your content pillars, you want your content buckets. And you can actually sit down maybe once a month or twice a month and go ahead and create and curate that content, so you won't have to be thinking about, oh my goodness, what am I going to post today? Oh my goodness, this is so-and-so happening. I need to be able to respond. So you will already have systems and automation in place, and TC is brilliant at this. I can't wait until she shares her system about the DMs and, how to create that value and that conversation. And this is a really true partnership, strategic partnership coming together. TC and I coming together and actually doing this challenge, because we want people to win. We want people to monetize their LinkedIn. If you're spending time on a platform, you should be monetizing it. And we cannot say that enough.
I love it when a plan comes together. That was a perfect question to bring up for you to be able to answer and provide the additional value about the challenge, because it really is about the pillars. It's about systems. It's about being organized. It's about knowing why you're here and what you're here to accomplish, and sort of putting on your blinders to what everyone else is doing and focusing on you. What is your mission? And that makes me think about branding, personal branding, right? Who you be is how you attract what you desire. And so, can someone speak to how does personal branding really play into attracting that high ticket client, and especially on LinkedIn, because it's different than any of the other platforms?
Everything starts with that personal branding. And so many of my clients say, well, I don't want to be on LinkedIn. It's just one more platform. But yet, you want the monetization, you want the speaking engagements, you want XYZ that LinkedIn can bring. And so you have to make sure that you are visible. Not only are you posting a couple of times a week, and I know some consultants say post every day, and for most people, that's just not doable. So posting 3 to 5 times a week, content that is based on your content pillars as well as your content bucket, that builds that personal brand, because when you show up, they know what they're looking for. They know what to expect. They know what you're going to bring to the table. And I don't care what people say. They say that they don't have a personal brand. Yes, you do. You might not be cognizant of what it is, but trust me, you have a personal brand, and you want to build it correctly so you can attract and align and monetize the way that you want to do it, not the way anyone else wants to do it. And Dr. Lynette, I'm so glad that you mentioned that about putting blinders on, because sometimes we're so focused on what everybody else is doing. We're not focused on ourselves. And what do we need to be bringing to the table? We know where we get, where we talented, what is our zone of genius that we need.
TC, it looks like Natalie's mic went out. Do you want to pick up where she left off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Let us know when you're available to speak, Miss Natalie. I'm not sure what happened, but I wanted to say something after she was done, so I can as well just say it now. Now, here's the thing about personal branding that I love such, and I'm sure you would love it, but don't judge me, okay? But I love it. This is why I love personal branding. For those of us who are in business, who are sure that we want our business because of the transformation that we have to provide. Listen. This will literally cheer you up. Now, your strong personal brand will not only attract attention, okay, but it would also filter out clients who are not the right fit. Now, that is huge. When you clearly define who you are, what you do, and who you serve, your brand would just intentionally attract the people who you want to serve, people who resonate with your approach, and people who are willing to invest in your services. One more thing, okay? I see Miss Natalie is now around. When you have a well-established personal brand, this is for those of us who say, oh, I don't need a personal brand. Oh, you have one. You're just not leveraging it like Miss Natalie rightly said, right? Now, this is something that would cheer you up and get you started like yesterday. When you have a well-established personal brand, it allows you to command premium prices. You see the difference between those folks that have a coaching program for like 100,000 and you are still there trying to struggle with selling 1,000 coaching program. You see the difference? You see the difference here is the personal brand. That is what is allowing them to command that premium price that you're looking at, because it positions you as a top tier provider. Now, those high ticket clients are often willing to pay more for someone who they think has a strong reputation and a clearly identified high value brand. What do you say?
So be sure to leave those there. Here is my next question. And this is really about results, because I know for myself, I feel as though I am doing, and I'm not always sure how to know when I am doing it well or doing it right, or how do I measure my success? How do I know when I am attracting the right clients? You know, I just there's lots of analytics. Some people say look at impressions, and some people say look at reach, and I'm just looking at the bank account. So I would love some feedback from either or both of you on how do I measure this success short of it just being about the dollars.
Okay, so I had to give a good laugh there, because you're right. You're definitely right, because every time we talk about conversion, as business owners, it's only typical that the first thing that comes to mind, I'm not getting clients. How is business today? Oh, business is horrible. Why? Because I'm not getting clients. But we forget that there are other values that leads to that client once we pay close attention to it. Now, the reasons why we're not able to start to get those clients is because all of these metrics are not being paid attention to. Like, you're not taking notes, you're not paying close attention to them, and you're not using them. These metrics, right, are are used to help you. They're used to help you. They're used to guide you to be able to measure your success with your LinkedIn effort, right? When it comes down to acquisition, from tracking all of your metrics to also leveraging these metrics to making data-driven decisions with your relationships building or generating leads or even closing those sales, right? Now, there are a couple of metrics that personally I put in place. However, I will just share with you three right here, because I don't want to overwhelm you with all the things you need to pay close attention to. But it is very important that you pay close attention to, at least first things first, your profile views and your engagement metrics here on LinkedIn. Now, this would help you, right, in figuring out, first, your content, because your content is the first in your funnel system, right? Your LinkedIn funnel system. Your content is the topmost, right? Top tier. That's where it is, because it helps in diffusing, it helps in qualifying your target audience, the people who are coming to your space, to getting them into that next level in their purchasing journey with you, right? Now, breaking this down further, when you talk about your profile views, it's more or less like indicating your content and your engagement effort. Don't waste your time. Figure out what is driving more traffic to your profile and the positive sign that you're growing interest. That's what your profile views is about. Now, so that you don't waste your time on content that is not going to generate anything tangible for you, right? It helps you in making decisions on the kind of content you should push out, the kind of content that the people in your space are enjoying. I don't like to use this because when it comes down to the money, this for me is not necessarily relevant. This is just when you talk about post engagement, it's more for visibility and credibility. It doesn't necessarily say I'm going to buy from you, right? It's in the same vein with your connection request. The connection request is only saying, okay, you know what? Your presence is making wave and people are getting attracted to you. Now that's what that is saying, right? But the part where I love, or the metrics that I love, which I feel you should also pay close attention. Don't get me wrong. Pay close attention to your profile views and your engagement metrics. Those are good. But you see, the money part is your lead generation metrics. You see, you want to pay close attention to things like your conversion rates, your lead generation metrics. Okay? Now, these two would guide you into that space where we talk about transforming connections into high-ticket clients. Now, let me break this down. With your lead generation metrics, for example, we talk about number of leads, we talk about inbound inquiries, right? Now, your number of leads obviously is helping you monitor the number of leads generated through LinkedIn. You cannot know this by just looking at your LinkedIn profile. This means that you need to integrate a CRM to your LinkedIn activities. Okay? Now, this is part of what I mean, building that system around your LinkedIn, because you want to track and measure what exactly is happening. Who are the people, connecting with you? Are they people I want to really be connected with? Because I'm going to give us a challenge right here. Let us go back to our connections. Okay? Let us do a quick understudy of the people connected with us. If you've not made any single thing, right? When I mean thing, I mean money. If you've not attracted any client, no one has bought from you, no genuine lead that has said, okay, you know what, let's connect some other time, or I'm looking to plug into your program or anything in the past 90 days. Go back to your connections, not your followers section, your connections. Find out the people who are connected to you right now. Now, do a short study to find out if these people are people who can even afford what you have. Now, one thing I've noticed is that some of us just gather connections. Oh, everybody connect with us. Everybody connect with us. You're not understanding why you need to connect with these persons. Who are they to you? Who are they in your journey? Are they referral partners? Are they your well-wishers who are going to boost your content so that your ideal clients see your content? Are they primary buyers? Are they secondary buyers? All of these informations are very important, right? And this is the intentionality that goes with turning your LinkedIn profile into a powerhouse. You don't just post just because we want to post. We're intentional with this, right? Now, like I said, the number of your leads would help you in figuring out, okay, you know what, how you respond to people, how you get to how these people show interest in your services. Now, there's this other part about your lead generation metrics that I like. The inbound entries. Like I said, it is not easy for you to figure that out if you do not have a CRM tool now integrated to your LinkedIn, because this would get you all of these numbers that I'm talking about right now. You're able to track the number of messages and inquiries from your LinkedIn connections. When I mean inquiries, I mean people asking about your services, expressing interest to learn more. Now, this is a win. This is a huge win, right? Now, even if you're not selling anything yet, but you see people showing interest, you see people asking for your services. Now, that's a good win. What this is saying is, okay, you just need one more step, and then you're able to take them into being a paying client, okay? Now, before I yield the mic to Miss Natalie, just in case she's able to speak right now, because I know her mic has been going, the connection. Now, one more thing, conversion rates. I love this metrics as well. Now, one of the conversion rates that I love is your ability to understand, your ability to measure the percentage of your new connections that are turning into leads. You see this metrics, right, that I said I love. It basically would show you how effectively you're nurturing your network and you're moving these people from just being in the friend zone of your connections towards potential sales conversions, right? Sales conversations, rather. Now, you're not just having them as connections, people who are interested, but now they are taking that next step into having those sales conversations with you. One more thing. When you track the percentage of your leads, the one that convert your connections, into your high-ticket clients, you call that, or rather, we call that the lead to client conversion rates. You see these particular metrics, you want to pay close attention to it. This is huge. Even if you have 500 followers, 500, let's do 500, okay? You have 500 followers, you have 1,000 followers, you can still churn out thousands from your LinkedIn profile every single month. Now, this is how this works. With these metrics, it directly reflects the effectiveness of your sales approach. Using your content, using your DMs, how you're speaking, the perception people have of your services, of the benefits, of the transformation that the program you're showcasing is providing, all of it in your content, in your DMs, on your profile, with your link in the bio, you're able to track and measure all of it. Now, that's the part where I say you go from lead to client conversion rate. I don't want to go too technical, because if you know me, I love talking about these technical things, but let's not do that, right? Let's just stop right here. But these are metrics that, they're simple for you to walk around, and you're able to figure out, okay, you know what, have I been wasting my time in the past 90 days, or is it making sense? You're able to make better decisions with your next level. I hope that helps, Dr. Lynette.